So good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be here this afternoon in this session, in this side event, which is entitled Inclusive and Sustainable Industrial Development Through Innovative Technologies and Solutions. And this is at the SDG Pavilion at COP30. And basically a short description of this session is that this will explore how innovative technologies can accelerate the global energy transition and drive sustainable industrial development, highlighting partnerships, financing mechanisms, technology solutions, and fostering inclusive and resilient, climate resilient growth. So first of all, I would like to invite Mr. Si Young, the Deputy Director General of the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, for the opening remarks, please.
Thank you, Clovis. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon to all of you. It is a great pleasure to welcome you here to this UNIDO event on inclusive and sustainable industrial development through innovative technologies and solutions. At the outset, I would like to thank DESA for hosting us in this SDG Pavilion. We meet here at COP30 in Berlin as the urgency of transforming our industrial and energy systems has never been clearer. The global community must accelerate its effort to achieve the Paris Agreement goals and the Sustainable Development Goals. For this transformation to be successful, we must ensure that our efforts are inclusive, technology-driven, and sustainable, leaving no country, no community, and no one behind. As UNIDO climate change strategy states, the role of industry in the climate change context is threefold. First, industry is one of the largest emitters of CO2. It is itself affected by the changing climate and resource depletion. In addition, also, it has a potential to become a leading provider of technological solutions, business models, and decent and sustainable jobs, while influencing consumers' behavior and lifestyle across the globe. Inclusive and sustainable industrial development, ISID, is a key element of an effective climate change strategy. By integrating innovation, technology, and investment into industry policy, countries can unlock new pathways for economic growth that are low carbon, resource efficient, and resilient. Today's event brings together policymakers, development finance institutions, industry associations, and technology leaders to share practical insights on how innovation can power this transformation. From renewable energy solutions such as solar and green hydrogen to sustainable cooling and energy efficient industrial systems, these technologies are already shaping a new era of industrial development in the global south. The session will also highlight the importance of financing mechanisms and partnership models that make this innovation accessible and scalable. Initiatives such as the UNIDO Solar Technology Application Resource Center and the new Sustainable City Project are excellent examples of how we can turn global ambitions into tangible action on the ground, creating cleaner industries, more resilient communities, and sustainable livelihoods. This event embodies UNIDO's core mission to advance inclusive and sustainable industrial development through innovation and cooperation. It also reinforces the message that achieving a just energy transition requires collaboration among government, the private sector, financial institutions, and development partners. I would like to express my gratitude to all partners and panelists for their contribution, and to the government of Brazil for hosting us here at the COP30. Together, Let us continue to drive the transformation towards a greener, more resilient, and a more equitable industrial future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Zhu. So I would like to first introduce. Then we have a panel discussion that will take about 45 minutes. So initially is I will have. Okay. So thank you very much. So we have here a brief description of today's panel discussion. And this is entitled Inclusive and Sustainable Industrial Development Through Innovative Technologies and Solutions. And we have here Patricia Nakashi Martins, who's the National Technical Officer at UNIDO, Dr. Francis Wiseye, Chief Economist and Director of the Uganda Development Bank, Mr. Felipe Saliba, Chief of the International Solar Alliance, Ms. Luana Moraes, National Policy Officer Manager at UNIDO, Thiago Pietrobon, Director of the Brazilian Association of Refrigeration, Air Conditioning, Ventilation and Heating, and Joshua Tibut, who's the Head of Energy and GCPA Finance at DESA UK. So I would like to ask for a round of applause for all our participants. Right? Very good. So first I will start with Patricia. Right? So Patricia, could you please tell us a little bit about your work at UNIDO? We understand that you have been supporting developing countries in advancing technologies such as low emissions hydrogen. And from your perspective, what is the role of hydrogen? What can it do in terms of energy transition? How is UNIDO implementing this support to foster hydrogen development, especially in Brazil? But before you answer, let me make a very short introduction of Patricia. Patricia, she's the National Hydrogen Officer at UNIDO. So please, Patricia. Does it work?
Hey. Thank you, Clovis. Hi, hello everyone, good afternoon. I just arrived from the airport. Yes, I'm based in UNIDO's office in Brazil, where Clovis is the country representative as well. And we are working, at UNIDO we understand hydrogen is a key for energy transition and especially for industry decarbonization. Hydrogen can play a key role, especially on hard-to-abate sectors such as mining, steel, cement, and decarbonizing industrial processes, besides other uses as clean fuels and energy production as well. We, at UNIDO, we are supporting different countries with different perspectives, not only on technical support, but also implementation on international cooperation, also project development support. And especially in Brazil, I'll start with the work in Brazil, but this is being done in other countries as well. We have a challenge that although hydrogen is a hype right now, was a hype like 2 years ago, now a little less, but still a hype, and everybody's talking about it, the potential for hydrogen in energy transition. Although there is all this hype, we understand also that in Brazil especially, there are a lot of hydrogen projects announced, but none of them has reached out to final investment decision yet. So with this challenge, we, from UNIDO in Brazil, we are implementing a partnership between the UK government and the Brazilian government, especially on project development. So we did a national call for proposals for hydrogen projects aimed at industry decarbonization. So the main criteria to select projects was that should have been hydrogen production, but close to it and industrial use attached to it. We received 70 proposals of projects, and we shortlisted 5 to begin working with. And we established here in Brazil what we are calling a country platform. So based on these main priority projects we selected, we are looking deeply into them, understanding their main needs. Some of them need still the project development phase. Some of them are already well established. They only need the last mile of financing. Some of them need still structuring the financial part of the project. So looking closely at them, understanding what are their main needs, and we're doing like a matchmaking between the priority projects and international support. So one of the main supports we are looking at is the CIF, the Climate Investment Fund, which is concessional financing for industry decarbonization, and we try to include those selected hydrogen projects to receive this. We are supporting the Brazilian government to establish its investment plan for the CIF. Other support is the HUD, is UNIDO's call for the Accelerate to Demonstrate call, which is support for projects at the pilot stage. Other is the Green Finance Institute, which is helping projects structure their financial part. Other is also, we're discussing with the Brazilian National Development Bank to include those projects in the Brazilian investment platform to showcase that these projects are also priority for the national government. So the idea behind this country platform is to select baseline of projects and match them with the potential international assistance. We are starting this work here in Brazil, but the idea is to have next this same work in Mexico, South Africa, and other countries to be defined.
Thank you very much. Let's move to Africa. Dr. Francis, we would like to hear from you. Could you tell us a little bit about what the Uganda Development Bank is doing in regards to provide support to energy projects in the country, and please tell us a little bit about the interventions and areas that you're really working on, please.
Yeah, thank you. I'll start by briefly speaking to who we are as a Uganda Development Bank. UDB is a national development finance institution that is mandated to catalyze private sector growth through financial and non-financial interventions. And we have two broad financial products, which are debt and equity. Now, the bank has a strategy, and we have quite a huge scope, from primary agriculture, agro-processing, manufacturing, tourism. We support projects in all these sectors, including human capital development, where you have education and health. But we have a sector, an area that we have identified as a cross-cutting area, and that is infrastructure. Under infrastructure, energy is one of the key priorities. We don't take it as one single sector because it supports all these sectors that we do support and finance. And so the bank has this as a priority area because we are at industrialization stage. We want to to propel the country's structure transformation, to aid manufacturing and so forth, and energy is at the heart of all this. And so the bank is supporting projects along different nodes of the energy value chain, right from the generation, transmission, and distribution. And I would speak to a few of the projects that we have supported, right from preparation, structuring, to financing. Recently, we supported a solar plant, a 22 megawatt solar plant, which was commissioned last year in the central part of the country. And we supported again from preparation and all the way to debt financing. We have also supported the preparation, and we're almost achieving a financial close of a 13.6 megawatt solar plant. It will be, we intend to achieve that financial close in January 2026. That is early next year. We have a healthy pipeline of about 55 megawatt of green connected solar and about 35 megawatt of small hydros. We are conceptualizing another big one, 100 megawatt solar project with battery storage. and we are envisaging this to take about 100 million US dollars. And again, for all these projects that we have either supported or are supporting, we support from conceptualization, project preparation, viability gap funding in some sort, to the financial support, whether in form of debt or equity. In the transmission space, we are partnering with, we are working with partners to do a transmission line and create a ring around the Kampala capital city. That's the capital city of the country. And we are looking at doing equity and debt. And here we have partners like Africa 50 that we are working with. In the distribution space, we are arranging capital to finance distribution lines, and we are starting with a project of about 3,500 kilometer, estimated to cost about 100 million USD. This is one of the initiatives. We have quite a number of them going on, working with partners like UNIDO. We have actually had a few engagements with UNIDO, but some of them we really work with the Ministry of Energy, and we have quite a number of these discussions. I'll just end it here for now. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Let's move now to Mr. Felipe Saliba. Could you please tell us a little bit about the challenge that many countries are facing at the moment? We understand that many countries are facing challenges which are not related to technology per se. So please tell us a little bit about what is needed for that energy transition, both in terms of institutional development and also skills. And what do you think would be the types of capacity building that would be necessary for countries to gain autonomy and attractive private sector investment? Please.
Thank you very much. Definitively, but just before I come to the question, to add in my profile, I look after knowledge management, institutional development, and capacity building in the International Solar Alliance. And for who doesn't know International Solar Alliance, ISA was launched in the COP21 in Paris with the objective to support the developing countries to accelerate their energy transition towards solar energy. We know, coming to your question, that more than 90% of the investments in solar energy today is not going to the global south, with the exception of a few countries like India and Brazil, and other few countries. But when you talk about Africa, small islands, developing states, they are really needing support in terms of ecosystem foundations to accelerate their transition. Sometimes not even accelerate transition, but electricity access itself. And ISA was created by the government of France and India. And currently we are intergovernmental organization with 125 member countries. Yes, I think solar technology today it's well developed. Of course, it will evolve even more. But the main challenge is institutional development and capacity building. So this is why ISA, we have a vision, what we call from ambition to action, based in 4 main pillars. One is catalytic finance, the number one. We don't position ourselves as a financial institution. So, but what we do is to work with banks, local banks mainly, and we create a global solar facility to help the countries to de-risk investments in order to attract the private sector investments. We don't go further in this pillar, but it's the financial part of ISA. The second one is what we call Global Capability Center. In this pillar, we have our platform like STAR centers that was mentioned by Mr. Zhu at the beginning, the Solar Technology and Application Resources Centers. We currently have 17 Center of Excellence across the globe. Most of them are implemented in Africa, with the objective to promote trainings for all kinds of trainings, technicians, policymakers, regulations. But not only that, another pain point for those countries that it's trying to implement their part is standardization, testing, and certification. Sometimes we see that solar projects are not succeeding because of a lack of quality and standardization. Okay. So it's another function of the STAR-CIS. Entrepreneurship and incubation, with the idea also to give the hands to the country to develop their own private sector, and knowledge management. Our third pillar is about country engagement. We support countries to create their roadmap for solar technology. It can cover different types of technologies, coming to our fourth pillar, like agri-PV, floating PV, rooftops. Today we have a large brand of solar technology that can be applied, and depending on each country, they have their own reality, and we prioritize with them. And with all these pillars, we streamline and create an ecosystem for the countries. So yes, we believe that the transition or access to electricity has to be handled by the countries themselves. We work to create these foundations on regulations and mainly capacity building for the support their journey in the country. So we work directly with governments. I leave you there.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much. So now let's move to Luana. Luana, please. Right, we understand that your work at the Industrial Decarbonization Hub at UNIDO really focuses on innovation and industry transformation. So I was just wondering if you could tell us a little bit about your perception related to factors that enable innovation ecosystems, and also how that links to energy transitions in industry, please.
Perfect. So good afternoon in this great weather. Basically, the idea of the Industrial Decarbonization Hub is to work with collaboration. So when we talk about ecosystem, we're actually looking at the importance of collaborating and also attacking the challenge that we are all facing in a way that is actually connected. How do we do that in the ID Hub? First of all, we're looking at the policy framework. So in terms of Brazil, what is already there and how we can build from this policy framework. So we're helping Brazil in the construction of the national industrial decarbonization strategy, which is going to be launched on the 17th of November here at COP30 in the Brazil Pavilion. So we're looking at the policy framework, and then we actually start landing this strategy. How do we do that? Pillar 2 is actually looking at we are financing. So how do we connect the projects that are already there with technologies and innovations that are already ready to be applied in the industries themselves, to the catalytical funding that is out there that we can actually land this into Brazil. As Patricia mentioned, because we are actually we are sisters, because we are sisters hubs led by 2 women. We have the SIF that is our low-hanging fruit, something that we are looking at the moment with the Mijiki. But we are also looking at other sources of funding for that. But the main thing looking at this is actually how do we accelerate the innovations that are out there, but they are not ready yet to be applied directly, to be what we call the plug and play in the industry. And that's where we have the incubator, the Industrial Decarbonization Incubator, that was launched last week. And we are working together. We always say this is industry-led. Why industry-led? Because we need to understand what the real challenges are. At the same time, understand with the Brazilian government and with the market, like what are the innovations that are already there? What kind of support do these innovations actually need? What kind of strategies we can have to plug these innovations, that sometimes what they do need is a proof of concept within industry, and this is something we're looking at doing when it comes to pillar 3 of the ID Hub. So in a nutshell, what we're looking at is where is the industry, what is the industry's challenge right now, and how we can support them in different fronts. Because the ecosystem is about collaborating, about seeking the synergies with what is already happening, and hopefully we will be able to get the experience we're having in Brazil and replicate it in other countries. And again, when I mean replicating, it's not like copy and paste, but understanding also the local specificities.
Well, thank you very much. So now let's talk about cooling.
Please.
Let's move to the Brazilian association that really focuses on cooling. Thiago, please. We're
Help
really
us now.
interested in cooling now, to be honest. Could you tell us a little bit about sustainable refrigeration technologies, how these technologies can be positioned to enhance the industrial supply chains? That is also very relevant for food security, for climate resilience, specifically for middle-income countries like Brazil, please.
Okay, thank you. Well, let me think something. I prefer read some notes to be more comfortable for all. Sustainable refrigeration is much more than a technical solution. We can feel this now. It's a critical infrastructure. It's a critical infrastructure for inclusive industry development. It's play a key role in climate adaptation, supporting food security, public health, safety, especially in tropical countries like here. In industrial supply chain, refrigeration is essential for agriculture, for pharmaceuticals. Without it, we can't preserve foods, vaccines, and sensitive materials. And with climate change accelerating, its importance is only growing. Globally, the refrigeration sector accounts for a significant share of energy use and greenhouse emissions, especially from refrigerants like HFCs. That's why innovative technologies such as high-efficient systems, low GWP refrigerants, and life cycle refrigerant management are so important. The Kigali Amendment of the Montreal Protocol connects ozone layer protection with the climate action. And initiatives like the Global Cooling Pledge, the recently launched the Beat the Heat. Again, we feel this. Beat the Heat turn these goals into sector-wide commitment. In Brazil, we see a strategic opportunity to align refrigeration with both climate and industrial agendas. This means promoting inclusive growth, creating skilled jobs, and expanding access to clean technologies. Projects under the Montreal Protocol, many of them led by the UNIDO, are helping transform the Brazilian refrigeration industry toward lower refrigerant impact, greater in energy efficiency, and the use of refrigerants with lower GWP. This transformation brings clear benefits. It supports climate adaptation, eases pressure on the power grid, because we are talking about efficiency, energy, no, and opens access to a new markets with fewer restriction on efficient, lower impact equipment. It also helps create new markets, especially in circular economy models. In fact, in Brazil, the Brazil Kigali's target are part of the National Industrial Mitigation Plan now. The Plano Clima, the section specific for industry. It's a key strategy for decarbonization and meeting our NDC goals. Place HVAC at the center of the sustainable industry policy is a smart move, and it accelerates the transition and drives real progress toward the low carbon future. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you very much. So now let's move to Joshua, please. Could you please tell us a little bit about the hubs? So basically, Brazil and the UK have been working together for about 2 years on the Brazil country platforms, with the goal of accelerating Brazil's industrial development. Tell us a little bit about how systems thinking approach can really foster and help countries navigate towards this green transition. Please.
Thanks, Clovis. Hi, everyone. My name's Josh. Really pleased to be here. Really pleased to be contributing to the diversity of this panel, if only through my haircut. Patricia and Luana, being on this panel, have already brought the authority that you would expect from one of our partners on the Brazil hub. So I suppose I might risk telling you the same story, but from a different perspective. You can compare who's telling the truth. It was all us. So we started on this work a couple of years ago in 2023 when we approached Majiki about an industrial decarbonization hub. And it represented a slightly different way of working. So rather than trying to have a comprehensive, multi-sector, whole-of-economy relationship with a country, we picked one challenge and wanted to do a narrow but much deeper level of cooperation. And so it took some time. We developed a model which really tried to learn the lessons of recent country platforms and put Brazil at the center of this discussion and find a way where we could create a real partnership. Majiki were excellent partners to work with. MME took a little bit more time to convince. Also great, though. Also great. And by the end of 2023, we were in a position to announce this Brazil Industrial Decarbonization Hub. Now, as we've heard, this hub very much takes the approach that you can plant an acorn and end up with an oak tree. Small interventions like the calls for proposals that Patricia mentioned provided some of the evidence base that went into Brazil's application to the Climate Investment Fund. They were applying for the Industrial Decarbonization Programme, which the UK was a funding donor towards, and I am on the board of the CIFs, so it was a complete surprise to see the Brazilian application with all of their work in it. It was no coincidence that out of the 26 countries that applied, Brazil got the top marks, best in class, with the experts assessing that the evidence base used in their application was really strong and showed the demand that there was in the Brazilian system. And that came from the pieces of work that we'd been doing together with them through the hub. It's also a source of pride that this hub predated the wider BIP, the wider Brazilian investment platform, and really goes to show that you can do country platforms in any way that works for you. So some countries want to launch a huge country platform for all of their NDC delivery. Others might start with a sectoral challenge and, a little bit like we were talking about, have a proof of concept that this way of working can happen. So I won't claim credit that the industrial decarbonization and hydrogen hubs inspired the BIP, but it did mean that they were already up and running and providing results when the BIP came along. Just to go to the point very quickly about systems thinking is very much embedded into the DNA of the hub and the way it works. We often talk about it in the UK system as an end-to-end assistance offer, where we've conceptualized the different types of support that you get to push people through the S-curve of transition, from the very early stages of innovation to the proof of concept, to pushing it through into a viable technology so you can get full deployment. And you often see this expressed in S-curves where for years you can have very small and incremental and expensive change, but then in a very short amount of time it can capture the imagination and really take off. If you look at the sale of EV vehicles, for example, in some countries, or the uptake of solar panels. The reason end-to-end assistance is a useful way to think about this is because A, it ensures that you approach problems holistically. It means that you can be delivering assistance through every stage of that process, and it also means you have a more systematic way of identifying where that support is missing. I think if you don't have this systems approach, it's very easy to mobilize a lot of things, but to not be able to understand what they add up to. And so that's very much the purpose of that. It's why we've launched this incubator, which Luana, you've already spoken about, which really focuses on the innovation side of things. So we hope that will come and provide those projects for that lighthouse effect and the proof of concept. So that'll be me for now.
Wonderful, very interesting. Thank you very much. So now we're going to have some very quick responses from you guys. So basically, I want to hear from you. What is the main challenge that we're going to face ahead in the next few years in your line of work, following your initial response? So, Patricia, please, what is the main challenge in the area of hydrogen?
So,
You have 2 minutes to reply.
I think the main challenge is we're looking at hydrogen projects for energy transition and industry decarbonization, but I think the main challenge is to understand how these projects can also contribute to a just and inclusive energy transition. So we also just talk a little bit very quickly, but about also UNIDO's technical work on hydrogen. We launched it yesterday. Guidelines for sustainable hydrogen projects focused on 4 Ps, which people, planet, prosperity, and power, but main focusing on how hydrogen projects can contribute to create local value in local and national countries, not only exported.
Thank you very much. Dr. Francis, what is the main challenge for the future?
And I'll speak from the context of Uganda and other developing countries. The main challenge and what has been and which continues to be a challenge is the ability to structure bankable projects, the ability to mobilize concessional and long-term finance, patient financing, because what we see largely on the market is short-term. If we go to commercial, for example, in the commercial space, and such infrastructure energy projects require patient financing, not only patient, but concessional. So that remains our challenge in the near future, to support, to structure those bankable projects, bring them to financial close, right from the preparation. That remains a challenge. Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you very much. I think this is a very important challenge that's faced across the board in middle-income countries, developing countries, and fantastic. Felipe, please, from your perspective, what is the main challenge ahead?
Generally, in the global perspective in solar energy, I think the main challenge is grid integration for transmission, storage. So today we are relying a lot in batteries, long duration storage. So the sun is not during the night. So this is it's a big challenge. Where we believe that digitalization and artificial intelligence could be a good answer for this. So this is a general vision on solar energy. In terms of capacity building, is talking about our star centers, is to ensure the financial sustainability of those centers. So we are shifting to a model where we promote trainers, but more in a sustainable way, in partnership with UNIDO, which is a project that we are launching this week, is train the trainers.
Yeah, very good.
So we are shifting from training people, which is important, but to strengthening the institutions, academic institutions of the country, that they can handle by themselves their journey of capacity building to spread around knowledge and capacity to maintain and implement their projects.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. I fully agree with you. Knowledge and capacity building are essential in that market, and I think I congratulate you for that step because it's absolutely essential. Miss Luana, please,
I think
from your perspective, what is the main challenge? If you could talk a little bit about the incubator in that respect, I think it would be quite useful.
Definitely. I think, hearing also the first one that came to my mind is also how do we understand that industrial decarbonization is not a government agenda, but it's a state agenda. What does it mean by state with a capital S? It's actually for the public good. We're not talking because, you've been talking to Emijiki, we've been talking to the minister, but it's an agenda that needs continuity, regardless of whoever comes after. So this is number one. Number two is very connected to what Dr. Francis said, is how do we actually develop the innovations that are necessary in the transition towards industrial decarbonization, but also how do we gather the finance, the catalytical financing of it. Why? Because a lot of the things we've been hearing from the industries is we need a lot of investment in order to change the machinery that we have now, to change many things, because it's not just changing the energy transition, but also it has a lot to do also with the machinery they have, for example. So what are the financing, where the catalytical might come from, because this is going to make us greener, but not necessarily more productive. So these are the challenges we need to be looking at for the future. Try to be quick.
All right, wonderful. Thank you very much. So now we will move to the cooling sector again. I'm quite interested in the cooling sector personally. Please tell us, what is from your perspective, what is the main industry pathway that we should follow to accelerate the energy efficiency and the alignment with green industrial policies?
Clovis, I think that in this transition we have a lot of dots disconnected. For example, the first one, we need to approximate or put together the layer protection and climate agenda. In the Montreal Protocol, we have the way to access technologies more efficient, with lower GWP refrigerant. But this transition show us challenges. For example, about the inflammables refrigerant, we will need to work with the, how can I say, mão de obra, manufacturing, installators, I don't know. So we have this challenge to fight. Another point, some solutions need to be revisited maybe. For example, now this Beach the Reach talk a lot about passive cooling. It's okay, we needed this, but we will need more efficient equipment to fight against situations like this, to apply the access to good materials, to good equipment. So I think the principle is this: put together these very good plans, layer protection and climate agendas to work it together and create a single way to to follow. Thank you.
Yes, fantastic. I think it's important to say that Abarava has been a very good partner of UNIDO and also the Ministry of Environment and Climate Change in the implementation of the Montreal Protocol. We have some fantastic projects in the country, projects which are models for other countries to follow, and we're very happy to collaborate further on the next years to come on follow-up projects. So thank you very much. Now, Joshua, in your perspective, I would like to hear a little bit about what do you think would be the main challenge moving forward for both hubs in Brazil and also for other countries?
So I was thinking about this question more broadly. So I work on finance, climate finance, and a lot of my work, rather than being technical, is actually quite political. And I spent 2 years working in our UK presidency team for COP26 at Glasgow. We had very different weather in Glasgow in 2021 than here in Brazil. And at the time, it really felt like a high point of political consensus and action. It felt like we had a new cycle of NDCs, which really helped to bring down the temperature, projected temperature rises. We had new commitments on international climate finance. There were commitments on phasing down, coal and other fossil fuels. There were new commitments on countries phasing out petrol and diesel vehicles. There was a real political momentum. And actually, I think one of the challenges is that the politics has become more complex. And I think it will continue to be so. And it's for a number of reasons. But it almost allows me to look back at that time with a sort of naive simplicity with how we went around the world asking people to do more. And for the most part, they did. They did say they would. So I think that's one of the challenges, the politics that we navigate. The other thing is that everyone talks about scale and capacity building and access and bankable projects. These are all the same things that we've been talking about. And it does lead me to reflect whether or not the solution is to try and do more of what works, which is surely part of it, or whether or not there's the occasion to do something different. We've been trying to do more of what works for 10 years now, and we've had partial success, but we haven't had the success that we need. So I think being in the business of thinking about doing things differently, which responds to the politics as they evolve, might be something that I'm going to spend some of my limited brain power thinking about in the next few years. Thanks.
Okay, that's a very, very interesting approach, and I fully agree with you. This is a challenge we're going to have in different places. Naturally, in Brazil, this is something that we navigate.
Yeah, just related to that, and your question was specifically about the hubs. Political durability is always a thing. It's no coincidence that the hubs started their life when there was a change of administration that was very enthusiastic about doing things. And it's really difficult to invest so much into a partnership that after 4 years, it's gone again. And how do you prove yourself sufficiently agile that you can move to new opportunities? And this relates to the point I was making about politics. We basically just have to have a diary of elections and see which ones, throw up new opportunities. Or how do you find the right partners who can transcend those political changes? So you can build partnerships that don't just last 3, 4, 5 years, but they last 10 years or they last 15 years. And that political patience is a real premium.
Yeah, fantastic. I think this is a challenge we face in our projects, and obviously we will be together navigating these complex environment. We are very experienced in Brazil in the changes and moves, and also in other countries. So thank you very much. I appreciate very much our fantastic panel. Unfortunately, we do not have more time for more questions. So I will ask for a round of applause, and I will ask you to please stay because we need to have a group picture of this very important panel. Thank you very much. Please stay. Now, please, we will have now the launch of the Sustainable City Project. So basically, UNIDO supports sustainable urban development through various programs aiming at enhancing urban sustainability, reducing greenhouse gas emissions, and promoting integrated urban planning. I would like to introduce Mr. Yunbroy Zui, who's an environmental professional. He's an industrial development officer of the Division of Climate Innovation and Montreal Protocol of UNIDO. He has 18 years of working experience in implementing multilateral environmental agreements and provides leadership and strategic direction for more than 70 projects in Asia, Africa, and Europe in 26 countries. So we're eager to listen to the launch of the project. Please.
Thank you very much, Chloe. Yeah, good afternoon, everyone, distinguished panel members. So I'm really happy to have this opportunity to share good news with all of you. Actually, last month, the GFCO endorsed Sustainable City project in China. This is one of the first actually approved projects in the GF8 cycle to promote sustainable city project among others globally. I would like to take several minutes to give you an update regarding what these projects look like and also what the potential impacts of the project. Actually, the main objective of the project is to stimulate cost-effective replication and the scale up of the sustainable city initiative in Beijing, Tianjin, and Zhejiang. This is the capital area of China. And with the three key components, including the policy framework, capacity building, awareness raising, and a number of demonstration projects. The total duration of the project is 5 years with the 11 million GF grant funding and also most important 140 million co-financing from the national stakeholders. I just give you a brief introduction about the demonstration project. There are totally 4 groups of the demonstration project. The first is low carbon transportation. In this project, we will demonstrate electronic vehicles and also autonomous vehicles, mainly focusing on safety application, but also the reduction of the greenhouse gas emission from the vehicles. But also, we will develop intelligent connected vehicles. This is a connected system, connect the road, vehicle, traffic light, but also cloud to further optimize the traffic system. But also, last but not least, we also promote the public transportation. We will introduce electric autonomous bus system to provide similar, comfortable, but also affordable, timely service for the public transportation to further reduce greenhouse gas emission from the transportation sector. The second group of the demonstration projects is renewable energy. As we discussed today, regarding the solar panels, we are focusing on regarding how we recycling the old single solar panel. After many years, those panels already applied, how we can recycle those solar panels in an environment-friendly manner. We also promote geothermal heating. This is another kind of renewable energy. Yeah. Thirdly, the third group of the demonstration projects is a green building. We will demonstrate net zero energy buildings with only renewable energy, but also improving the energy efficiency. We will develop the energy management system to ensure the building can achieve the higher risk level, the 3-star level for the building in China. But also we can consider how to build up integrated solar panel for buildings and also the water recycling system for the building. Last but not least, we also have the biodiversity demonstration projects. Now in Amazon area, we can see the biodiversity, how important to sustainable development of 30. So therefore, in this project, we will establish bird observation stations and also marine water monitoring stations in 2 cities of this project. So Through those demonstration projects, we hope we can reduce 8.8 million metric tons of the CO2 direct emission, and also we can restore 560 hectares of the urban ecosystem, and more than 7 million people will directly benefit of this project, including 50% of the female, beneficiaries. Thank you again. This is the main background and the information of the project. Given that, I would like to invite all of you to take group photos with us to officially launch this project and celebrate the approval of this project together with our distinguished panel member. Thank you. Thank you. So let's take a group photo here.